Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's me, Brendan. What's up, you guys? I wanted to do this video because I love comic books. And I wanted to do a video based on the comic books that I got this week and comic books I recommend you should get. They're really good. Alright. This is my comic pile right here. As you can see, the good old comic book pile. Yeah, my good comic pile for good old DC. I mean, come on, Marvel sucks. DC is where it's at. Alright, now that I got that out of the way, I will give you guys a rundown for each of the comic books that I got. Okay? This week, Bombshells 22. In this issue, it basically picks up where issues 20 and 21 left off. Basically, Hawkgirl, Vixen, Batgirl, and a couple of other superheroes are going to be fighting against Cheetah and the Mechanical Gods. And this is kind of like a... this issue was kind of like a continuation of what happened in 18... sorry. What happened in issues 20 and 21. And now it's kind of like picking up at issue 22. Basically, Hawkgirl and Batgirl and Catwoman, I forgot to tell you this, are basically in Africa trying to help Vixen out with one of the Baronesses that was supposed to be helping out the Nazis in World War II, and somehow she got stuck in Africa. We don't know why, but that's what I'm guessing and assuming, because Cheetah has called her the Baroness. So, and she kind of looks like a little German soldier slash SS, those German SS officers. She kind of looks like one of those, but yeah, I didn't really like the antagonist a lot. She kind of was kind of in pages here and there, you know. But in this version, Hawkgirl has mechanical wings. And not the wings that you would see normally on her. No, she has like an Iron Man jetpack wing that she straps onto her chest. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome, I can tell you that much. Catwoman, there's nothing much on her. Vixen, well, she still is Vixen, just without the yellow costume. She has a black dress on her. You know, like kind of like the one of those rich people dresses, like with the fur on the, what do you call it? The fur on the sleeves, and then the head thing right here. She has that on, but yeah, she doesn't have the super suit on, which is pretty annoying. So yeah, basically they're in Africa trying to defuse the situation that occurred in Vixen's homeland. And I don't need to tell you this, But eventually they get captured by the cheetah. And this is where Hawkgirl goes and just remembers what she did in her life while she gets, trapped in the cage, and then finally she ends up freeing herself. And then we realize that Vixen, Batgirl, and Renee Montoya, well, the Question, I'm just gonna say that, they're all trapped in, well, I guess you could say like a dungeon kind of gate and cave thing, and then Catwoman rescues them. Then Batgirl and Catwoman have a talk. And then eventually Hawkgirl finds them, which is pretty cool. And then after that, they all group together, kind of like Avengers style, and then they just like go chase the mechanical gods. And then they find out that, that they have a mechanical rhinoceros type tank looking thing. And then afterwards, well, Catwoman kind of, not really, but she gets to the point where she has to sacrifice her life for the greater good. But then again, we found out that Wonder Woman blows up the gigantic robot that, the Baroness was in. So, yeah. I really, really, really liked this issue. Not because it's a female comic book, and I'm not being sexist about this. Because I'm a man, and I have my opinions on this comic book. Okay? I am not being sexist. I love a good comic book, and this is one of them. Even if it has a female lead, I like it. It's good. It's pretty much what you would want in a male comic book if the male characters were instead replaced with female characters. This is what that book is about, and I love it. I recommend any of you guys to read this comic book. It's great, and you'll get a good laugh, and you'll be more open-minded about certain situations. Okay. Okay, what do I want to pick out here? I'm going to do this in like 2 parts, so this is just the first part. Just want to let you know. Okay. I'm going to do... No, fuck it. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm just going to do this. Superman Action Comics number 974. Yes. Basically... Well, I gotta say this to you. Basically, if you read Superman number 18, or 17, sorry, you'll get... I'm trying to think of what it is. You're gonna get like a big figure in the background. This is what happens before that happened. So, before issue 17 happened... This is what happened. Okay? Superman on his way to saving Lana Lang. Then while he saves Lana Lang, he finds out that, nobody on Earth can save her, so therefore his Fortress of Solitude has the ways to go ahead and keep her sane and safe, and then while they operate on her, she wakes up and she says to him, Clark, how can you be here when I saw you there? When I saw you there. And then he asks her, saw me where? And this is a good clue because this is really good. Like, really fucking good. I'm sorry, excuse me. Really good because basically, after she falls unconscious, the robot tells her that Dr. Hank Henshaw and his group are going to the Fortress of Solitude. More on that later on. Now we find out that there's a new Clark Kent, and I mean new Clark Kent. Basically, I'm just going to say this. Basically, the new Clark Kent wants to go out with Lois Lane, who he does not know is married to this world's Clark Kent, aka Superman. Basically, it's all creepy as... It's creepy. It's just downright disturbing. I'm just going to say that. Just downright disturbing. That's basically the entire thing that happens with the new Clark Kent. Now, he goes and asks the taxi driver to follow that taxi. Now, we see this at the end of Superman number 17, which we saw a dark silhouetted figure. Now, this answers what happened in issue 17 of Superman. Because when we went and saw the silhouetted figure, we had no idea who it was. Now we do. It's pretty obvious. And then afterwards, well, before that happens, Superman and Steel are busy, figuring out what the heck is wrong with their best friend. When, I'm trying to think of, sorry about that, when Superman figures, he might have a solution. He brings her over to a Kryptonian battle armor, inserts her there, basically saying, you know what, she's okay, she's not going to have any worrisome side effects, let's just leave her in there for however long we have left. Now, back to the Fortress of Solitude. Well, let's just say this. Dr. Henshaw and his team go into the Fortress of Solitude. One of them goes in, and it's Hank Henshaw that goes in, not anybody else. And basically he has like this whole, kind of, what do you call it? This whole identity crisis thing going on because there's a telepathic villain in there, and trust me, he's not to be messed with. He's just not to be messed with. So, and finally, once he enters the Fortress of Solitude, it's Blank. Blanque. Blank tells him to open up the door. And, well, basically, he just wants to open up the door, and he orders, he thinks that, Dr. Henshaw, since he's there, he's like a person that likes to be ordered around, which is kind of true. And so, one of the other villains says, no, Blink, he's a telepath, if he gets in your head, run! Basically saying, if he gets in your head, you're all down. So yeah, after that, then we get a little moment with the rest of his crews, basically saying, they found out who it was that had the disturbance. It was Blank, obviously, and then they have a little interaction. Good cop, bad cop. They have a little interrogation thing, and then Blank blows up the Fortress of Solitude. That's huge. That's huge. That is huge. Then afterwards, while while Superman is bringing in Lana Lang to the Kryptonian armor, that's when that happened with the explosion. That's what happened. This next page right here is the page from Superman 17. And I'm not joking around. That's all connected to Superman number 17. Go read it. It's really good. And basically, they have a little dinner conversation. Pre-New 52, Clark and Lois, and their son Jonathan Kent. You know, they have dinner. They have their casual conversation. Outside the window is the clone Clark Kent, or CC Kent. I'm just going to call him CC Kent. Basically, he says, you know, this boy is not your cousin's son. He's yours. Yours. And the one who looks like me. It's all coming back to me. I remember all of it. You ruined my life. Ruined everything. Basically, it's really good. And the last page says, well, if it's fun you want, it's fun you'll get. And it's just super crazy. It's super, super awesome. I would rate this book a 9 out of 10. I encourage you guys, my YouTube followers, to get this comic book. Trust me, it is so good. And it'll keep you up with Superman. And what's going to be happening next is Superman Reborn. Basically, it's just going to be, you know, basically it's going to be an identity crisis for Superman. And Dr. Oz, or Mr. Oz, is going to be in the comic book more frequently afterwards. And, you know, and while Superman the Reborn event is gonna, you know, continue on and afterwards. So basically it's just a step closer. Let's see, Supergirl being super. Being super. I don't have to say this. It's just a reiteration of Supergirl's origin. Just a rehashed version. Trust me, it's really good. It makes Wonder Woman look like a kid. Seriously. It's really good. Basically, it's your average teenager. You know, basically it's a cataclysmic event, and you know, the afterwards of the event and what makes him forward to go to being a superhero. That's basically it. It's basically it. Right there. Boom. Done. I didn't have to say anything else but that. It's really good. It rehashes everything that is Supergirl, and I'm really loving it. So, if you guys want, you guys should definitely get this book. Definitely get this book. Now, I'm going to be doing half of my comic stash collection, so just want to let you guys know there is going to be a part 2 of this, because I don't really want to like do an hour video for this, so I'm just going to do it like part 1 and part 2, and this is just part 1. Alright, which one should I do next? Oh, the heck with it. I'll do Batman Beyond. If you guys love the Batman Beyond animated series, you're gonna love this. Trust me, it is so good. It's so good. So good. And if you guys haven't, well, basically, how do I explain it? Basically, in Future's End, Terry McGinnis goes back to 2014 to stop Brother Eye, and it takes 42 issues to see that he failed, and he died. Trying to think. He died. I think it was. No. I can't remember exactly how he died, but he died in the comic book Future's End. Then, in the Batman Beyond comic book, the one that happened afterwards, was taken over by Tim Drake, the third Robin. Alright? And then afterwards, battling in the Batman Beyond universe, he sees a villain named Shockwave. And it's Terry McGinnis. So after he gives the Batman Beyond suit to Terry McGinnis, he goes and passes through a light, which we all know he got captured by Mr. Oz. In the Detective comic books Rebirth series, he got captured. He's still there. Everybody believes he's dead, but we all know he's still there. They just haven't released him. DC hasn't released him back to us. So basically, yeah, that's that. But in this book right here, we find out that there's like a gang of Jokers with a Z, Jokers. And Batman or Terry McGinnis is trying to go undercover, see what's wrong with it, see what's up, And while he goes down there and gets undercover and does all that crap, he finds out that Bruce Wayne, Batman, from Batman Beyond, is alive. But he's the Joker. That's a good twist right there. Just picture that. He's alive, but he's the Joker. Okay? That's basically issues 1 through 4 of the Rebirth series. I can't even think straight. In issue 5, we see Batman, Bruce Wayne, coming back as Bruce Wayne. But this is like a trial and tribulation of Batman, and, well, in the beginning of issue 5, it goes back through, like, his memories of Future's End happening. Yes, Future's End. And then it leaves off with, like, from what happened from issue 4. Which is, he goes ahead and gets access granted from one of the teleporter keystones. And then, well, let's just say this. The villains have Bruce Wayne. Batman gets Bruce Wayne back. Bruce Wayne is alive. He knows that the Joker may be Alfred Pennyworth. That's a maybe. We don't know. It's a maybe. Maybe. It's a maybe. And then afterwards, the Joker comes back. And we get the death of Jason Todd reenactment, baby. The death of Jason Todd reenacted with the Jokers. Yeah, the Jokers. Right there. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And the best part is, the villain that gets his butt handed to him actually deserved it. He actually deserved getting his butt handed to him because nobody F's with the Joker. Nobody F's with the Joker, and that's pretty awesome. Like right there, nobody F's with him. And I'm pretty happy that they brought back the Joker for this book. We all know it may be Alfred Pennyworth. And I'm hoping it is. Because In Justice League The Dark Side War, Batman gets 3 answers for the Joker's name. We all know one of them is Alfred, pre-New 52 Alfred Pennyworth. That's what I'm hoping is there. I know your voice, Al. Yeah, that's what Batman says. I know your voice, Al. It's pretty awesome right there. It's pretty awesome. Let's see, which one do I want to do? I did 4 comic books. Okay. Oh, what the heck, I'll do 3 more. Alright. The next comic book is The Batman. Just joking, it's Justice League of America. And this is a really good comic book because basically, I could just say this. Basically, they have a huge dialogue with the Extremist. This is pretty good. And the battle with the Extremist takes up most of this issue. That I don't have to say. It's really good. I don't have to explain the story. They battle with the Extremists. And it takes up most of this issue. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And before that ever happened, we get a scene of everybody not majorly important getting to go to a church in Saratoga, New York. Before that happened, we get the budding romance of Adam and Killer Frost doing the Trouble Alert. The Trouble Alert. They're trying to fix up the Trouble Alert system so that if anything happens out of the ordinary, bada bing, bada boom, the Justice League of America will understand and get ready over there to, fight the bad guys. And this I would rate a 10 out of 10 because, of course, it's drawn by Ivan Reyes. He's awesome. He does characters really well. It's pretty awesome. A 10 out of 10 on this one. Alright. Oh, what should I do? I'll do the Kamandi Challenge. Kamandi Challenge. This is a yearly challenge that DC Comic Books is doing. A yearly challenge. And so far, it's really good. Basically, the writers at DC Comic Books have to bring things out of the situation, which is Kamandi. They have to bring them out of a previous situation and into a newer situation. And that's what they're going to be doing for the next 10 issues. Basically up until they get to the end, which is going to be in 2018, which is pretty awesome. So basically in issue number 1, Kamandi gets to go ahead and, relive his life, basically with android robots. And afterwards, they get attacked by the Tiger Clan, which is, Jack Kirby way of, doing things. And then after they get attacked and after all the androids lose, Kamandi goes into a deep coma and then gets captured by Prince Tufton, which is, King Caesar's son. And then after that, they decide to go ahead and throw him into an arena. Sounds fun, right? It isn't. Basically, he gets to go ahead and go up against a big, gigantic frickin' gorilla named Tiny. It's pretty funny, if you ask me. And basically, they have to, they fight against each other, but Kamandi wins, using the electric fence to zap Tiny into, out of submission. Then afterwards, he gets kind of like congratulated or such by one of the librarians, I guess you could say. I can't even remember his name. He has like a little dog face, dog body-ish. And, well, they still think he's an animal, but he is. He's a human. They don't know that. It's pretty awesome. And then afterwards, they go ahead and find out King Caesar defeated the leopard tribe and got, a little trinket out of it for a reward. This is where issue 2 comes in. Because the little nuclear bomb was an ape inside a nuclear bomb. And it's pretty awesome. And then after the apes go in, and after the tigers, have to defend their territory, Kamandi looks for a way to escape, which he does. But he uses the Metron's Chair of Knowledge. Metron's Chair of Knowledge, which is, Jack Kirby way of saying, it's the new gods. He just has to get away from what's happening, and so he does. But he goes up to another part of America, and that's where the wild human reservoir, but reserves are. And the animals are afraid of the humans. Yeah, the animals are afraid of humans in the comic book. And so the comic book ends with the Manhunters saying, "No man escapes the Manhunters." And so literally Kamandi jumps to his death. And that's where issue 3 comes in, which won't come until the 29th of March. But I gotta give this book a 7 out of 10. I really like the way that they're doing it, but I don't like the way that they have to rehash all the writers and the drawers and the artists. But no, that's just my opinion. So 7 out of 10 for this one. Let's see. I'll do another one. Let's see. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh, I'm gonna do my last comic book for part 1. This is part 1 out of 2 parts. This is part 1. So, just want to let you know. And the last one is going to be... Oh, I don't know. The last one is going to be... Oh, what the heck. I'll do the Suicide Squad. It's really good. It's really good. This one. It's going to be this. It's really good. I have to admit, it's really good. Now, the reason why it's really good is because look at the cover. Just look at the cover. It's really good, right? Come on. But The story begins with the ambulance carrying Amanda Waller to a hospital. Because the last issue of Suicide Squad, at the very end, Amanda Waller gets shot in the heart at a New Orleans alley. Now, I'm sorry to drop a bombshell to you, but that happened. That's where issue 12 comes in. And she's being transported to a hospital. And while that happens in Blackgate Penitentiary, Gotham City, or as we call it, the Crazy Nut House, kind of version of Arkham Asylum, Rustam, former of command of Task Force X, drops in and says, "Hi, how you doing?" But not really. Basically, he drops in, gets his flaming sword. The guards see him and they try to team up and not team up. They try to get the gang. They try to get the drop on him, but it ultimately fails because, well, Rustam gets away with everything. And he goes in there and tries to well, I guess you could say he goes into some kind of cryogenic tube room, I guess you could say. And, yeah, that's what happens. But, before that happens, actually, no, during that happens, the Djinn, says purity reigns. And while that happens, the Suicide Squad are kind of in a data stream type of, subway system, I guess you could say. Because they have a new teammate called Hack, and she can transport into security systems and teleport herself through there. So basically they're wandering around in the security systems of computerized, whatever you call it, computerized machinery, and they bump into Jin, who is the world's first digitized man, and, well, he has a, chat with Hack, because, their powers are very, very similar, but while that happens, they find out it was Rustam, that broke into Gotham City, the Blackgate Penitentiary and such. And basically, this is a good one. Basically, they find out Amanda Waller dies. She dies. We're losing her, basically. And basically, the next scene is her and a couple of other surgeons, because, she's laying on the table. A couple of other surgeons trying to get the bullet out of her heart. Basically, she dies. And I love this part right here. My last conscious thought, all of you, I am Amanda Waller, because I loved it. I love that part, because why not? I mean, if you want to think of your last conscious thought, just say whatever you want to say. And so that's what she says. She just says whatever she wants to say, which is pretty awesome. Okay? The next scene is where the Suicide Squad and Rustam, they go against each other, and Rustam has his team called the Burning World. And so, the Suicide Squad, has guns and weapons and super strength and magical, that sort of thing. And basically they have a little super villain fight in Blackgate Penitentiary. And then, you know, they find out that Rustam has like a team of special superpowers that can go ahead and go against the Suicide Squad. So he does that. And then one of the Suicide Squad leaders literally gets shot in the back, or stabbed in the back, actually, and they end up in a, well, I guess you could say they end up going through a portal. And this is the part where this is the part where Jin says, "I'm picking up national security chatter from Washington. A New Orleans hospital, a shooting victim. It's Waller. It's confirmed. She's dead." And it's pretty awesome because, well, Rustam says it's not me that killed her. I didn't do it. And this is, basically after the Suicide Squad members get their ass kicked. Well, yeah, I can't even take straight there. This is basically after when the Suicide Squad member get their asses kicked by the Burning World, which is pretty awesome. And basically, Rustam and the Burning World, they go through a portal and they're done. Basically, that's the end of that. We don't see them until probably the next issue. And then part 2 of the story is at kind of like a funeral setting where one of the I guess you could say staff members of Belle Reve goes ahead and goes to the funeral. And basically she sees Amanda Waller's kids, all grown up at this point. And basically, well, I'm just going to say this. Basically, they have a conversation. I'm not going to say which, but they have a long conversation, which takes up a few pages. And then they go back to, they go back to the Belle Reve staff members' memories. I guess you could say it's Amelia Harcourt. They go back through her memories of her watching all the stuff that happened with Amanda Waller, and having a chat with Hack. And then she tells the Suicide Squad members that basically they're gonna have an interrogation. The Amanda Waller's dead, and they want to find out who did it. And so each of the squad members gets interrogated by Amelia Harcourt. Most of them say they wanted to, but they really didn't. They wanted to, but they didn't. Because they knew they had a brain bomb in the back of their heads. And if they did that, the brain bomb would go off and blow up their heads with it. Which is pretty good. It's pretty good to keep a villain in line with that. And I love Harley Quinn's answer right here. Like right there. I love her answer. It's so good. It's so good because basically she's holding up a paper saying, "I'm not hiding anything, honest." It's just pretty funny. What she says. Basically, and then afterwards, they, her and Hack, Amelia and Hack, they talk together and basically have a long conversation about the interrogation and what happened with Amanda Waller's death, and they're trying to figure out who did it. And it's pretty good knowing that someone killed her and they're trying to figure out who, which is pretty good. They didn't kill off Hack. Hack is still in the Suicide Squad. Basically, they're trying to find out, it's kind of like a murder mystery of who killed Amanda Waller. It's pretty good, actually. And then afterwards, Hack and Harley Quinn have a long conversation And they ultimately find out that they have a number one suspect. Like, Hack and Harley Quinn know who kind of did it, who had a little grudge against her, and it's Deadshot. Yeah, it's him. But, yeah, that's where the story ends off right now. But, yeah, normally superheroes and anything else that's important, they literally die and they come back a couple months later. Normally this is gonna be like, one of those things where it'd be like, oh, I'm a robot, or oh, I'm a clone, or oh, someone shapeshifted into me and got killed off. I don't know if it's gonna be those three, if Amanda Waller was a clone and the real Amanda Waller was in hiding, or if she's a robot, which we all know she's not, or someone shapeshifted into her, which is highly unlikely. So, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to kill her off for good. That could be it. Maybe they didn't really need Amanda Waller anymore. Which, that is an effed up reason why they killed her. That's an effed up reason why they killed her. And I love Amanda Waller. I love the way that she keeps the villains in line. I love her no-nonsense attitude, which is pretty good to keeping your fellow villains, inmates in line, because you don't really want them to go overboard. You just want to keep them in check. That's why I like this issue. I'd grade this a 9 out of 10, which is pretty good for a comic book. And I encourage you guys, if you have not read a Suicide Squad book, read this one. It's really good. Really, really, really good. Read it. Read it. But yeah, I gotta say, out of 7 comic books, I gotta say that this was a good video, so yeah, just wanted to let you guys know I will be doing part 2 of this, and part 2 will consist of Blue Beetle, Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Deathstroke. Yes, Deathstroke. Really good villain. You will love him. Teen Titans. Really good comic book. Flash. Of course, why not? And Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. So yeah, that's what part 2 is going to consist of. These guys right here. So, just wanted to let you guys know, if you like this video, give me a like. Or 2 likes, or 3 likes, or however many likes you want. Comment down below. Subscribe to my channel if you want. And I'll see you next time. Peace! DC rocks! Peace out, bros.